You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast with your dating coach, Tripp from trippadvice.com. Do you struggle with getting girls to like you? You'll learn step by step how to talk to girls to create deep connections, whether it be for one night of wild fun, a 1-week fling.
Are you currently involved in a sexual relationship?
Or for a lifelong partner.
Full of long-lasting pleasure.
Here's your host, Tripp.
Hey, welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Tripp from trippadvice.com, and a big warm welcome to you. This episode is sponsored by Spartagen XT, your resource to boost your testosterone and boost your sex drive. So if you have any troubles keeping it up in the bedroom, maybe you're finishing too fast with a girl in the bedroom, you might have issues with any testosterone, this is an all-natural supplement. You don't need a prescription. You can just get it at SpartanLibido.com, and trust me, this stuff works so well. I highly endorse it. All filled with herbs and vitamins, so it's 100% natural to help you be a rock star in the bedroom. So if you feel like you have any issues, or you're nervous that you might have issues in the bedroom with any kind of nervousness of getting it up, then this is something that you should try out. And if it doesn't work, they have a refund policy, so you can just send it back and get your money back, and no harm, no foul. So check it out, SpartanLibido.com. It's called Spartagen XT. Highly recommend it for you. Now, today's episode, we're talking from a guy to a guy from Chile. Yes, that's right. I got people all around the world listening to this podcast, and he has an interesting question, one that we don't really talk about much here on the podcast. You know, we talk a lot about how to get girls, but we don't talk about how to turn down girls. So why do you want to learn this? Why is this something that you need to know? Well, you need to know this because you're going to be put in a situation that's going to be very difficult, where you're going to feel like, you know what, this is not the right girl for you. You shouldn't be dating her, and you're going to have to be able to learn how to turn her down properly and do it in a mature way. Just for, ethical reasons alone, you don't want to treat people terribly. You want to treat them with respect. But also at the end of the day, you don't know what kind of things that she's going to be telling other people. So you want to make sure that you're telling her or you're showing her respect. So, you know, anytime that she might tell a friend or something that happened with you, at least she can say that you handled it properly. So just at the end of the day, to be a good person, you want to learn how to do this. It's going to help you in the long run. Okay? So not only that, but our friend from Chile here, he's talking about a success story that he had. And it's funny because he had a success story because he was motivated from another success story that I told from another guy who ended up leaving a voicemail on the podcast. So basically, I'm putting this on because he got the motivation and the success from hearing another one. So hopefully this can affect you and give you motivation to try harder, to keep on pushing, to keep on fighting the fight and going through this journey of being the most attractive self and being able to attract the types of women you want in your life. So hopefully this is even more motivation for you who's listening right now. So in a second, you're going to listen to that voicemail. Highly interesting, and he ends with a great question. But before we get into that, just a couple of announcements. If you want to leave a voicemail, you have a question, I'm here to answer for you. All you got to do is call 323-432-0025. And if you want to remain anonymous, that's fine too. You just have a question, I'm here to answer it for you on the podcast. And of course, if you want the free course called Conversation That Gets You Dates, that teaches you how to talk to girls, that's like my best program yet on how to talk to girls, then I want you to go into the iTunes How to Talk to Girls podcast section, write a review, take a screenshot of the review, send it to me at trippadvice.com, and I will give you access to that program called Conversation That Gets You Dates. Sound good? All right, let's get into today's episode. Here is our man from all the way south of the equator talking about his success story and asking a great question.
Hi Tripp, this is Felipe Casamela calling from Chile, way in the south of the world. And I just want to say first that your show is the greatest, man. I really have learned so much with you, and I just want to thank you for what you're doing. I just want to tell you a little success story. I heard episode number 84, and Daniel telling his success, and I don't know, it just motivated me so much, and I just had my own success last night. I had a lot of issues with women. I'm just 20 years old, but I had never ever kissed a girl, or ever had a girlfriend, obviously. And I just met this girl 3 weeks ago in a bus, and I just started talking to her. And it happened to be that she went to the same university here in my city, and just started talking and going out. And last night, I had the first kiss of my life, and it just feels awesome, man. I'm so thankful for you, for everything that you do, and yeah, just that. Thank you a lot, and keep doing that. I bet there's a lot of other men in the same situation that I was, and well, I just want to keep growing, and thank you. And well, maybe just one little question. This girl, it's kind of funny because this girl has been very hurt before by other men, and she's reacting very weird. I mean, she's like very kind of cold. I mean, she says I like her. I mean, she likes me, but it's kind of weird, and I don't want to damage her more, but I don't know, maybe at some point this might just end, and I don't know how to do it without hurting her feelings. And I know I'll have to be man enough, but I mean, to say that maybe this is just not it, but I don't want to hurt her anymore, and just, if you could answer that, it would be great, and thank you a lot, and yeah, just keep doing what you do, and thank you a lot.
All right, great question, and I'm very happy for your success, Felipe. Fantastic. So I hope you, the listener, have listened to this and thought, you know what, there's hope for me. Now listen, you know, a lot of you are at different levels, so you might be thinking, oh well, you know, no big deal. Like, I've gotten kisses before. I'm looking for something even more. But you got to realize how big these jumps are and how relative they are. I bet the first time that you finally got a kiss from a girl who you thought was amazing, you were on top of the world. And the first time that you're going to go on a date with a girl that you think is amazing, you're going to be on top of the world. The first time you have sex with a girl that you really think is amazing, you're going to be on top of the world. And so the journey continues. So you have to remember that every success that you make, whether it's small or big, you have to congratulate yourself and you have to celebrate. Okay, that's going to be one of my pieces of advice for this episode is you got to celebrate every single win. And you know what? To go along with it, you got to celebrate every single loss too. Every single, quote, failure. Because every time that you fail, it's just an opportunity to succeed. Okay, failure is like the seedlings of success. And I'm happy to say that I've actually made that up. I did not get that anywhere. It's true. They're the seedlings of success, right? You get a failure, and that's the seed. You plant it, and you learn from it, you grow from it, and it grows into a success because you know that whatever you did wrong, you can move forward and do better next time. So every success, every failure is a win-win. The only time you actually lose is if you don't put this advice into action. So what I'm saying to you all the time, and what I'm trying to get you to do on every podcast, on every YouTube channel, or every YouTube video that I put out on the channel, I'm trying to get you to go out and use this stuff. I want you to see tons of success because it's there for you. Okay, and it looks like it was there for Felipe, who's going to be on his way. Now he can move on to more exciting ventures with other girls because now he figured out that this girl, well, she wasn't for him. And that's okay. Not every girl you come across is going to be for you. You know, the last episode that I did, we talked about how to find the girl who is right for you. And sometimes you won't find the girl who's right for you. And you come to this place where you're like, oh, shoot, I got to turn this girl down. Like, this sucks. You know, like it feels terrible to hurt someone, to make them feel, you know, just bad about themselves, even though they shouldn't. But, Sometimes it doesn't work out in the relationship that you're in, or it doesn't work out with the girl that you're dating or that you're seeing. Highly suggest what you don't do is you don't ghost. So if you've heard of that term before, maybe you have, you don't ghost on a person. Very immature, irresponsible, immature move, okay? Basically, ghosting is just completely ignoring them and hoping that they'll go away. And that's just not the way that we do things here at Tripp Advice. That's not how we treat people. That's not how we treat ladies. That is the wrong way. Trust me, it will come back to bite you. I'm a believer in karma, but not even in that magical, spiritual way. I'm a believer in karma, the fact that the things that you put out there and the things you do could actually logically come back to bite you in the ass. So if you treat someone with disrespect, they might say something to someone else about you. They might say something bad. They might, talk to their friends. Who knows when you'll come across them in the future. But imagine doing the opposite. Imagine creating really good karma for yourself. Imagine actually doing something good for humanity, for the world, and then people finding out about it, and then great things come back to you. And of course, hopefully the acts that you do are selfless, and you're not just doing it for your gain, for your benefit. But I'm just telling you, you still win either way when you do something good. So my point is that you want to make sure that you let the girl down easy. Now, I'm going to be very upfront with you like I always do on this podcast. I never give you any BS. I never tell you any kind of nonsense. And I'll tell you right up front that you won't be able to avoid hurting a girl's feelings that you end up letting down. It's just impossible. You are going to, she is going to end up feeling some sort of hurt, some sort of pain. I mean, think about it realistically. And in a perfect world, you break up with a girl and she's like, you know what? I felt the exact same way. And then who's going to be hurt? Well, you're going to be hurt, right? Someone's always going to be hurt in the situation, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. In fact, let me tell you the truth. The truth is this, is that if you don't end up telling a girl sooner than later that you're not interested or that it's not working out, or for sure that this is just not the relationship for you, you want to tell her as soon as possible, okay? Because the truth is this, is that you are going to be hurting her more if you wait longer because you're denying her the ability to move on and find someone new, right? Our greatest asset is time. Time is really the most important thing to us because time equals life, right? All we have on this earth is time and the years ahead of us. So you're going to be robbing a girl of her time, and you're really robbing your time. You're robbing yourself of your time to be able to move on and be able to talk to someone new, get into a new relationship, get on more dates. That's the thing, okay? That's the thing here, is that it's hard to do. It is very hard to do. Like the song says, breaking up is hard to do. But at the end of the day, you're doing everybody a favor in the relationship by making it happen sooner rather than later. So I think that's my first point on the podcast today, is that you want to make sure that you're doing it sooner than later because then you're really hurting her even more. So you got to remember that. So that's the logical way to think about it. That's how you got to think about this in the most logical perspective because, you don't want to hurt her, and I get that, and you will hurt her, and she doesn't know it yet, but you're going to be, again, robbing her of her time. So, not to repeat myself, but I really got to hammer that point in. People don't really understand what that means. And it's very selfish of someone in a relationship to just let it go on and on. I mean, it's okay if you're letting it go on because you're hoping it's going to get better, but then hopefully you're communicating with your partner to try to make it better. But if you know and you find out deep down inside that this is just not the relationship for you, this isn't working out the way you want it, you want to break up with her, but you're being selfish and you don't want to do it yet because you don't want to hurt her, trust me, again, you're hurting her more. So the way that I want you to let a girl down is to do it at a time when you guys can be together in person, not over text, not over the phone. I mean, again, this is assuming that you guys have been on at least, 3 to 5 dates. You guys have definitely, either had sex or you've been, somewhat committed to each other. Maybe you didn't have the commitment conversation. Maybe you didn't actually have the boyfriend-girlfriend conversation, but you guys have created some sort of relationship on some level. You want to sit down with them. You want to go out to dinner with them, get some coffee with them. Probably not a meal because you're breaking up with them. So probably like some coffee or something like that. Don't get like any drinks or anything. Really just sit them down and tell them how you're feeling. Okay? Pure honesty. And one of the best ways to be honest that I've learned is by being able to explain to a person your feelings throughout. Tell them that you feel, bad, that you feel all these emotions inside of you, that you're scared. You got to be really vulnerable with the person. Tell them everything that's going on in your brain in that moment. Okay? Because that's going to allow them to see your pain and see how much you actually do care about them, and this is hard for you. Okay? And I'm guessing that's true. Hopefully it is. If you're a human being and you have any kind of normal emotions, you're going to feel bad for the person. Don't pity them, though. That's not the whole point. You just feel bad about the whole situation. Be honest with them. Let them know how you feel about telling them that it's not working out. And tell them, and don't give them the old, it's not you, it's me line, because that's bullshit. Right? At the end of the day, it's always a combination of you and them. It's not just you who's having all these issues. It's because it's something they're doing. But here's the thing, and you can say this to them. It's not like they've done something wrong, per se, or something that's terrible. Maybe they have, and then you can tell them that. But if it's one of those situations where it's just not working out because it's not compatible, then you can tell them it's not their fault. It's just that it doesn't mesh well with you. It's not, you don't think that it's compatible with you, that there's a compatibility issue here, and you're not feeling the way that you used to. Again, being very honest. And you can even tell them, whatever it is, the examples that you may have in terms of why this is not working out the way that you want it to work out. Tell them exactly, and lay it all down. I mean, I wouldn't sit there and tell them all the things that are wrong with them unless you think, and this is going to be up to you, unless you think it's going to be very constructive for them. Maybe they have done something wrong. Maybe you've caught them in lies multiple times, or they haven't been upfront with you, or, they've done things that have hurt you, or there's things that you're not getting out of the relationship. You want to say those things to that person. Give them an opportunity to learn more about how they were in the relationship, because that's you doing the biggest favor to them, because then they can take that and they can use that for their future relationships. And hopefully you learn something in the relationship that you can take away for your other future relationships. Hopefully they're going to tell you something that they didn't like about you, or like about the compatibility that you guys had together. Again, they might be very angry, so they might be spitting out really harmful, things to you, maybe insults, for example, but don't take those too seriously. They're just in one of those, stages of emotions. It starts off with denial and anger, and then it moves on from there. But they might show some of those first emotions when they're dealing with something heavy like that. Okay, so just make sure that you take it with a grain of salt, but also at the same time you're remaining calm and you're being very mature with them throughout. And when I say mature, I mean that you're able to be very honest and upfront. That's part of being mature and growing up. So for you, Felipe, if this isn't the girl for you, then the sooner the better. And it's going to be tough. It's not easy to break up with somebody because it hurts. You feel a lot of loneliness. They're going to feel it a little bit more because they actually still like you, but you're going to feel that loneliness. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay that you're gonna feel that, and that's okay that they're gonna feel that too. That's just part of it, and it's completely normal. You just got to go through it, and you got to get through it, and it's gonna take some time. And you got to listen to past episodes here. I have an episode that I put out, I think it was just a few weeks ago, talking about getting over your ex, or maybe it was a couple months ago. But it's an episode that teaches you how to get over a really bad breakup, or the one that was great for you. And so that's something you can still use, even if this is a girl that you broke up with, because you're still going to be in some pain. So listen to that episode more about how to get over a breakup. I'm not going to go into that right now. But mainly when you reject a girl, when you turn her down, when you break up with her, when you want to move on, the sooner the better. Like a Band-Aid. You don't want to rip it off slow. Rip it right off in one pull. Get it over with. Do it in the most mature way and deal with it. Okay? Emotions are hard. This is not easy to do. A lot of this stuff that I'm teaching you is really hard stuff, but this is all part of life. It's all part of growing up. And when I say growing up, I don't care if you're listening to this podcast and you're 40, 50 years old. You're still growing up. I'm 30. I'm still growing up. We're all still growing. Growing up means you're learning and you're changing. We're always going to be learning and changing until the day we die. So hopefully, from this episode, you've learned how to manage some of your emotions when you don't like a girl, and you can start to grow and change from there. It's a really it's a great experience to go through. I know many people wouldn't say that, like a breakup is a great experience, and I'm just trying to look at it in a very positive way. It is a great experience because you get to learn. You get to learn how people react in a situation like this. You get to learn how to do it because you might do it again. You're going to be in a lot of relationships and you're going to be doing a lot of dating. If you're following the advice on this channel, you're going to be doing so much dating and being with so many girls that you might have to break a few hearts, and that's just the reality of it. And you know what? You're going to be broken up with too, and it's just going to happen. I don't say that like, fear it. You must fear the breakup. Get ready. You're going to be broken up with. You're going to break up with someone. It's not something to fear. It's just, that's life. There's ups, there's downs. Shit's going to happen, and you got to prepare and deal with it like a man, okay? Because you are a man, and if you want to practice and understand and really dive into the concept of what it means to step into your man and your masculine, then this is something that you're going to have to do properly. So take the advice, okay? Take the advice from this episode. So there you go. That is how you let a girl down easy. You do it in the honest, vulnerable, truthful way. Do it in person and say what's on your mind, and do it really, do it as soon as you can, because this is a girl that deserves that, okay? Thanks for listening. This is the How to Talk to Girls podcast. Got episodes coming out every week for you to listen to. Don't forget to call in if you have a question, 323-432-0025. Always enjoy hearing your voicemails, answering your questions. Thanks for the caller today, Felipe, who has seen awesome success, and I'm sure we'll see more. All right, talk to you soon.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. Over 18 and want a question answered on the podcast? Email all your questions to Tripp at trippadvice.com.